you're hoping that you will get 85% of people who registered to 85% of the 100 people to come to the polling units to vote at least. Is that what you're saying?
No, for the purpose of registration, not everybody's going to turn up to vote. Some people might be ill, some might, for whatever reason, decide not to. So, but you are entitled to. 85% of those entitled to will be allocated.
Okay. The reason we ask this question is because when we also look at this table, we think that when we look at the F part of it, where you have additional and excess, you find that some states, it would look like some states have excess and as such are losing some polling units. That's what it looks like. For instance, you have Anambra. I'm sorry?
No state is losing any polling unit. No.
Okay, I'm just trying to, maybe you explain to us. Anambra, Bayelsa, Ekiti, Enugu, and Osun states have minus 805. Bayelsa has minus 545. Ekiti has minus 727. Enugu has minus 159. And Osun has minus 201. This is under the additional or excess polling units. So would you kindly explain to us what this is about?
Unfortunately, I don't have the chart here of looking at, but there's no state will lose any unit. There's no minus. First of all, you get automatically, each state gets a 15% increase automatically. You don't lose anything. It may be that's the figure you look at as the potentially the additional ones. I don't have the figures for me now. But if the gain actually does gain, proportionately to its registered voter population.
Then what do we have the minus for? Because if we look at this same table here, where you have the 2006 population figure, the total registered numbers, the percentage of voters to population figure, that also came up with the existing polling units. Now, when you do the proportional distribution based on the 150,000, it would seem that some states dropped, and that's why you have the additional or excess polling units. Is that why these ones have minus here?
Quite honestly, as I said, I don't know the table you're looking at. I don't have that table, but what I can assure you is that no state actually loses any polling unit. All states get additional. What people understand and complain about is the proportionality. They believe that percentage increases in some states higher than others, but no state loses any polling unit. Each state, for the additional 15%, each state gets 121 additional units.
Well, we got this table from the INEC bulletin. I mean, I think it was sent to all media houses. That's the table that we're referring to. And we're just trying to, raise areas of concern that we didn't quite understand. And we're hoping that you'll be able to shed light on it. But you say that you haven't seen this table at all.
No, I haven't seen that particular table, but it's I don't know what it's illustrated. But the fact that each state gets 1,580 units means no state, for example, gets less than 121.
I really do.
85%, so they get a lot more than that.
Yes, I can see that distribution based on 85% proportionality here. I mean, when we look at the 15%, all the states are getting 121 new polling units, as you rightly said, apart from the Federal Capital Territory, which is getting 146. Is there an explanation for that?
That should be an error. Every state gets 121.
Including the Federal Capital Territory?
I believe so, yes.
At the end of the day, there is a final figure which comes up with approved new polling unit allocation by state, which they say was supposed to be an addition of what you had on the table, which you say you're not privy to, D plus H plus I. These are like little subheadings, and when you add the figures under those subheadings, they're supposed to give you the new number of polling units approved for each state in this new era. But now it would seem that we can't take that conversation further based on that. But are you privy to the breakdown in terms of what you have in the north and what you have in the south?
Yes, I have an idea. I don't have a chat for me like that.
Okay, but at least you're aware of the distribution of the new polling units to the regions.
Yeah.
Okay, so could you explain to us then?
It's not done to the regions, it's done to the state, each state.
Each state?
Yes.
Well, yes, but if you break it down, you see that this proposed 30,000. By the way, has this been discussed and agreed amongst INEC staff themselves, all of them?
Well, the commission operates, there's a commission in consisting of the chairman and the national commissioner. That is the commission. It has been discussed at that level, yes.
Every national commissioner, that's the procedure, they're all in on this one.
Every national commissioner was at the meeting where this was approved, yes. But it doesn't include the regular electoral commissioners or the staff. They don't constitute membership of the commission.
Because if you look at the zonal breakdown of this proposed 30,000 polling units, you see between the north and the south, where the north gets 21,000 and then the south gets 8,000. Then the zonal breakdown, the northwest gets 7,906, the northeast gets 5,291, the north central gets 6,318, FCT gets 1,200, southwest 4,160, and then south 3,087, and southeast gets 1,167. And of course, they readily tell you this is lopsided, and they wonder what's the demographic explanation, even given on population basis, for this distribution.
Okay. Now, the demographics have changed. We're not responsible for the allegation of demographics. What we are responsible for, what we do use, are the total number of registered voters who registered. So I might have 100 people. If you don't turn up to register, then in one sense, it will appear you at a disadvantage. This data based on or retrievable from our servers for the total number of registered voters. The distribution was based on that.
Well, we don't know if you're in front of your television. I can see the figures that we have on our screen. But if you look at the figures, say, between the FCT has 1,200 polling units. The Southeast has 1,667 additional polling units. One has to ask the question, what was the basis for that?
Well, let's be clear, I think secondly you made a point that these are additional units to existing units. What you should really do is compare the existing figures and do the additional units to be able to compare like for like. The FCT, as you know, the population drift. A lot of people have come here to be registered for whatever reason.
Yeah, but
based on the new settlement and the total number of registered voters, they were allocated this unit.
yeah, I don't quite get it, because the figure we see here, FCT gets 1,200, and then Southeast gets 1,167. So does that mean, how does that happen? The entire Southeast getting 1,167, and then Southeast gets 1,200? Can you hear me?
Can you hear us?
Yes. Well, I can hear you. Sorry. Yes. Well, the problem is that it will be based on total number of registered voters that were obtained from the registration exercise, and then the number of new settlements that now exist in the FCT.
Yeah, but
That is my understanding of how we arrive at the figures.
New settlements as at when? Because right now you say that we're using the 2011 registration figures. Yes, we've had crisis in certain parts of the country that has seen people move to certain other parts of the country, but it wasn't as bad as this in 2011. A lot of people are saying that these new figures do not capture the recent realities of the country.
Yeah, let's get the perspective right. We're using registered population figures for 2011, but these figures do not capture the new settlements. The last time the number, the distribution of polling units was 1996. So it doesn't capture the new settlements, for example. Gainesville was only recently added, carved out from a demolished settlement, and a polling unit established in Gainesville, if you know the FCT well, for example. There's a corridor of estates that are not serviced by polling units. And new polling units have to be established. I don't know what the registered figures are, but all these will have to come a long distance to be registered. So rather than them traveling several kilometers, there are new settlements that are being serviced by these additional polling units in the FCT.
yeah, but you these new settlements that you speak about, and then we did ask if they've completed all the procedure before coming to this polling unit allocation or distribution. You had that ward registration, voter registration. All of that has not been completed, if I could say that, unless you could correct me if I'm wrong. And then you are coming up with this figure, which you say is based on a new settlement. How did you then get those new settlements and then the voters there if voter registration is ongoing?
Because voter registration is ongoing, a lot of people are registered in polling units that are several kilometers very far away from their residences or where they registered from, and they have been traveling for additional years. But based on 2011 registration, we now have to rather than use the 96 polling units, we have to add additional ones, 77 is new units, is new settlements rather. But we have post-80s, we have a total figure based on the post-80s, where we have 180s for nationwide. We do have those figures, and that's, as I said, from the baseline for this.
Because the figures, that bulletin that INEC sends to media houses, in terms of the total registered voters, the FCT has got 892,628. And then if you pick, say, one state in the southeast, say Anambra, Anambra has got a total registered voting population of 1,784,536.
Yeah.
And so one wonders, I mean, if one state in the southeast has got far more registered voting population than that of FCT, yet FCT is getting polling unit allocation of almost equivalent of the entire southeast.
Fair enough. What is the total number of polling units in a number? That's what you should be comparing. What's the total number in the FCT? You'll find the correlation. Not in just the new, add the old and the new of both